So the goal for today's stream is basically to make a history lesson about Mesopotamia. And this is going to be less of a presentation lesson and more of an exploratory one. So using NEARPOD, basically I'm going to be having students go in and talk with me about the different things that they're going to be seeing. So there are going to be different slides or different pieces on artifacts or maps of the area, and they're going to have responses or the opportunity to give responses about question prompts that I give them. So for example, if I give them an artifact, they're going to be able to tell me what that artifact might be able to tell us about this civilization. Same thing with a map. So one of the cool things about NEARPOD is it pretty much allows me to have a lot of different options in terms of student responses. So open-ended question, it can allow them to further explain something that they can't really fit into maybe one or two sentences. So it's kind of this opportunity for them to elaborate on something that I'm asking them. Collaborate board, it's a good opportunity for them to very quickly see other students' short responses. So if I have just like a really, really easy question and some of them don't quite know exactly what I'm asking or what direction I'm going with it, the fact that they can see other students' responses in real time, it pretty much allows them to kind of get the gist of what I'm going for and then sort of piggyback off that. And then Draw It is a pretty cool tool, especially when we use maps, because it kind of allows them to do like an overlay over the map or maybe translate some sort of location from one thing to another. So this is largely going to try to be an interactive lesson, as interactive as you can get digitally. So the different tools I'm going to be using today, especially since I'm going to be going for artifacts, on Reddit they actually have a really cool subreddit. Let's see, not this one. So this is my history account. So basically it's going to just be subscribed to all of these different subreddits that have something to do with history or something that I can use in my teaching. So like this one, right? Hang on. This one actually has a lot of really cool maps. Let me see if I can go to, where is it? Artifact point over here. So there we go. Okay. This has a lot of artifacts that, or images of objects or things that have been left behind from different cultures. A lot of things that I wouldn't be able to find on my own. A lot of things that I probably wouldn't know about or wouldn't, dig deep enough to be able to see like literally everything that would be really cool to include in a history lesson. So the reason why I like to use this subreddit to get some of these images from is because it gives me kind of a chance to see really good images of something that's really interesting, and I can also find some explanations along with it. So like this one here, a Minoan fresco. I probably would never see this picture on my own. But the fact that it's posted here by someone who's really interested in artifacts kind of gives me the opportunity to maybe use this in a lesson if I ever wanted to. Now, obviously, in Greece, that wouldn't really be super applicable to Mesopotamia. So we're going to search Mesopotamia. Okay, so this one right here looks like a pretty good option for me, because it's an ancient Sumerian dagger. And what I would be able to do with this, if I save it, let's save it to desktop, yeah. Okay, I would be able to put it in here in NEARPOD, and then they would, well, let me go ahead and do the prompt for this. So I'm just gonna do it on the collaborate board. Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna do it on open-ended question. Because for some reason, every once in a while when I do the collaborate board, images sometimes get cut off, and I don't want that to happen. So you can add an image over here. And since it's a dagger, I want to see what students would maybe be able to know about this civilization just by looking at this. Just because they had a dagger, what can that tell us about this civilization? So let's see. Ancient Sumerian dagger from Ur. Okay. Okay. And I guess I can edit the title a little bit. This is an. What conclusions could you make? Okay, what conclusions could you make about the civilization by looking at this artifact? And what's really cool about the NEARPOD program is that when I ask this question, I'm able to go over all of the different student responses. It might take me a while, or maybe I'll just pick out some of the ones that I think are the most thoughtful. But when I'm doing that, every single time I find that they answer so differently. Like some people will probably say something like, we can tell that maybe they valued self-defense, or we can tell that they had a high level of craftsmanship, or we can tell that they had different materials that were able to be used. Like obviously, even in the hilt right here, like those are made out of different materials, or maybe even different colored materials. So there are a lot of things that you could kind of glean from an artifact like this about this civilization. And when we go over all of those different responses, it kind of allows us to paint a better picture of who these people were. So as we go through and as we add more artifacts to this list, we can kind of flesh out some ideas about the people of early Mesopotamia. And for the purpose of this, like this is for an early high school lesson. So we do cover what is, or I guess, the Venn diagram of the Sumerians versus Mesopotamia, because I mean Mesopotamia is kind of like this broad overarching geographic region, and Sumeria is largely the southeastern part of that. But I guess at the same time, what they need to know, like for the standardized test, is just people in that area. And really, I don't think I've ever seen any standardized test questions that differentiate between people in Mesopotamia and people in Sumeria. So I'm going to go over it, and I'm going to make it clear that Sumeria Sumer is a more specific part of Mesopotamia. But at the same time, that's not something that I'm really going to hammer down super hard. So for the purpose of this, I'm almost going to treat the Sumerians and Mesopotamians as pretty much the same. And that's just so that they don't get bogged down and overwhelmed with stuff. Okay, so we have the dagger. And sometimes when I go over things, and sometimes when I find things like this, actually, I don't... Yeah, I guess this should be okay. Yeah, when I find things like this, I am probably going to have to look some things up just to get a little bit more information about it. So, like, for example, Pazuzu. Don't really know much about that. Okay. Okay. King of Demons of the Wind. King of the Evil Wind Demons. All right. I guess I could have a fairly simple explanation for that. Question. I'm just going to take out one of these descriptors here. There we go. What can this artifact tell us about Mesopotamian people? Okay. Depicted with wings, feathered arms and legs, talons, and the face of a lion. Okay. So what can this artifact tell us about Mesopotamian people? What I'm going for in this question, I'm hoping they pick out stuff about maybe religion or superstition or some sort of like spiritual belief. And I think a lot of people are probably going to reply to that because, demon, and it's a statue of it, and often invoked as a protector of children and women. But I might also have some responses like, okay, well, the Mesopotamian people knew what a lion was. Like that was a familiar animal to them, or at least familiar enough that they could depict it on the face of one of their, I don't know if this would be described as a deity or maybe like a lesser deity kind of thing. Okay, that's another good statue of it. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so it looks like they copied that from there. I'm going to add this part to it. He also represented the southern wind, the bearer of storms and drought. Okay, so maybe someone will respond something like they had storms in Mesopotamia, or maybe they had a drought. And we could talk about like what a drought is. Maybe they valued the protection of children and women, like they didn't just want them completely defenseless. They wanted them protected. So there's a lot that they could take from this artifact here. Okay. Ooh, from the site of Nineveh. All right, I need to remember where exactly Nineveh would be located. Upper Mesopotamia, okay. Is there... Okay, so it's yeah. That's not that bad. So that could actually count. This might be a good one, especially because jewelry, it can tell students a lot about like the value that early people placed on some of these materials. Okay, so I'm not going to put the beautiful and intricate part because they can pretty much see that on their own. So 800 BC. What this artifact probably need to put the image there. All right. So a lot of good stuff so far. What is this? Oh, this would actually be really good. Okay. You know what? I think this would be nice. So this, I guess, well, it could count as an artifact. Like, it's an older picture of an artifact. So if these were the sewage and rainwater network for a drainage system, this could tell us a lot about the civilization. It could tell us about their technology. It could tell us about potentially their standard for like either cleanliness or just being able to get rid of extra water. So yeah, that would actually be really helpful. Okay, so I'm going to include this. I'm going to edit it a little bit. Okay. Pottery pipes. Okay, state in okay. In 1930. No, I don't need that to be a complete sentence. Okay. Does this tell us anything No, I want to avoid yes or no questions. What could this tell us about the technology of early Mesopotamia? Okay. Ooh, okay, this is another good one. And I can contrast this with the one above it. So this one is from, I guess, between 6,000 and 5,000 BC, and you see obsidian and cowrie. What is cowrie? Mollusk. Oh, okay. No, that's cool. Okay, so yeah, definitely want to use this for sure. Okay. So I'm going to do this one right next to the other jewelry one. So I guess what would be kind of good about that is I would be able to have them contrast the two. Nope. Okay, here we go. I don't need the information about where it's curated. Actually, I don't even need where it was excavated. Okay. What? Two questions. One, what can this tell us about during the time between two, actually, you know what? Yeah, two. Actually, no, I'll keep it there. I'll have my other follow-up question on the next page about the people of Mesopotamia during the time between 6,000 and 5,000 BC. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a slide where I'm basically going to compare the two things. This one and this one. What? You know what? That work? Okay, so top left, 6,000 to 5,000 BC. Top right, 800 BC. What? How would I word this? Is the difference in these two artifacts? I guess that's pretty basic and, you know, not super complicated. And it's also, I guess, not too leading that they're all going to have the exact same answer. And this can just be one that we just talk about. Okay. Yeah, so I don't need to have them type out every single answer. Okay. So that is a good one. On the head of a ruler. Okay. Yeah, this can tell us some decent information. Okay. And hopefully by the time I get a lot of these, I can organize them into different themes. That's at least ideally going to be the goal, one of the goals. So how do they describe it? Bronze, head of a ruler. Okay. I'm just going to put Mesopotamia. That way it doesn't get super complicated for them. What can this artifact tell us about? Okay, tell us about Mesopotamia. There's one that I really want to get to. I think it's presented. Yeah, it's okay right here. The Sumerian king list. So this one would be a good follow-up to the previous one, because basically what it would allow me to do is talk about, or at least have them talk about with me, the fact that not only do they use bronze, or did they use bronze in that time period, but also they had rulers, kings. So this next one, the Sumerian king list on the Weld bundle prism, and let me look up both of these because I looked at these before and it was kind of interesting. So what it seems like is that this physical object is the Weld bundle prism, and the Sumerian king list is inscribed on the Weld bundle prism. So like this object, the object itself, wouldn't be called the Sumerian king list, but the Sumerian king list is typed on it. Which is kind of weird because, like, if we think about the way that we label and title books, a book is the title of the book. The title of the book is the book. But here, it seems like they're two distinct things. Like the writing on it is different, or at least named differently than the object itself. At least that was my interpretation of it, because like here it says the four sides are inscribed in the Sumerian language with lists of Sumerian kings. And actually one thing this is going to allow me to do is segue into cuneiform or cuneiform. Pronunciation is, whatever. But it's going to basically, actually, hang on. Yeah, no, I could have all these different pictures. Okay. Cool. What was I saying? When I get to the point where we talk about cuneiform, it would basically allow us to examine the writing system itself, like how it was structured. So then we could segue into a lot of different topics involving the types of things they would write with cuneiform, like what they could actually inscribe, like if they could just do words or if they can include numbers, how they kept records. So this, as a springboard from rulership, would actually be a really good way for us to go right into the writing systems. So here, I'm just going to go back here and just do kind of an introduction to this artifact. So I think this one would probably be the best one. So how did they list it? Okay. And it looks like it's from a very specific time range. And I guess that would make sense, because with a list of kings, there has to be a cutoff at some point. It has to begin at another point. So I'm going to put that in here. What can this artifact tell us about? Do I want to just say Mesopotamia, or? Yeah, sure. Mesopotamia. And so some potential answers that I would probably get from students are things like, well, they kept records, or they had a writing system, or they had a way to write on stone, which some of them might be a little bit surprised by, especially if they've written on paper all their lives. Or maybe they would be able to get something about how there may have been like a line of succession in terms of the rulership of Mesopotamia. And that could be something that we get into if we're able to like explore hereditary rule, or even just the different rulership of various Sumerian city-states before you have early Mesopotamian empires. Okay. So that can be there, and it's going to go straight from this other one about the bronze head of a ruler. So from here, where exactly would I want to go? I guess something that I could do here is just give them multiple visuals of this artifact, just so they can kind of like flesh out exactly what it is. So I'm going to do not the exact same thing, but just, okay, here we go. And I'll have this one, and I'll have this one. Okay, so that shows that there are 4 different sides on it, I guess. Zoom that one in a little bit. I wonder if there's a good way to give them something that they can zoom in on. I'm not sure. Okay, let's see if they, no, I guess they don't. I wonder if they have any other really good pictures here. No? Okay. Let's see if somebody else has something. No? Let's see, is there anything else about like rulership? Okay, what time period would this be in? Let's see if there's a date on this. Oh, okay. So what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to use this picture because I think it would be a little bit better just to get, you know, something that looks a little bit older. Ooh, wait, why can I not do like a normal file? That's okay. Maybe I'm going to have to do this. And let me see if Google just has another picture that I can check out. Is that the same one? There we go. Okay. Open-ended question. And I think I'm going to do any other ones that deal with rulership in Mesopotamia before the king list, because the king list is going to give a good segue to cuneiform. So how did... No. How did they describe it here? Statue, unknown woman. Okay, so I'm gonna delete some of this extra stuff. Statue of an unknown sitting woman. Okay. Mesopotamia. 2nd to 3rd centuries C. I guess this would give us an opportunity to explore like what centuries mean, because really like every year it's kind of hard to just shoehorn it in somewhere. So this, I guess, would give us a natural way to explore what the term century means and how to translate like 2nd or 3rd centuries into hundreds of years. So that would probably be helpful. What can this statue tell us about women in Mesopotamia? So ideally they would get something like women maybe had some higher opportunities in Mesopotamia. Now, like actually going through, like, women across the board basically had fewer opportunities than men, and this is true for a ton of different ancient civilizations. But the fact that you have even just a statue of a woman who's kind of like pretty well decorated, at least points to the fact that, or the idea, or maybe chance, that either this woman holds some type of power, or she's married into power, or she is able to like adorn herself in nice things. So that could maybe give them some interesting ideas about this. Because I mean, like, gender interactions in ancient civilizations are decently complex. It's okay. Foundation nail. Wait a minute, hang on. Forbidden waffle cone. So, okay, hang on. It has writing on it, but I wonder, because it says foundation nail. Let's see. Terra. Is there anywhere else that has more information on that? Clay nails. Okay, it looks like the same picture. Documents. Foundation pegs, cones, or nails. Cone-shaped nails made of clay, inscribed with cuneiform, baked and stuck into the mud brick walls to serve as evidence that the temple or building was the divine property of the god to whom it was dedicated. Huh. Interesting. So I wonder if it was less about, like, architectural soundness and more about just like an actual dedication. And that would actually make sense since there's writing on it. Like, we don't put writing on our screws and nails today. Huh. Uninscribed clay cones painted in different colors were used by Sumerians to create decorative mosaic patterns on walls and pillars of buildings, which also offered some protection against weathering. Clay nail. Okay. No, that's kind of interesting. So I guess we could put this. I'm going to have to delete some of those images. Here. How could I describe this one? Actually, no, I think that's simple enough. Ancient terracotta foundation nail for the temple of Girsu in Lagash, southern Mesopotamia. I'm just going to put... Okay. What can this foundation nail tell us about Mesopotamia? And this one is going to be super open-ended. And maybe they could put something like they like to inscribe their nails for some reason. Maybe we can explore that. What I like to do in these kind of lessons is as we get to a question that I don't have like an explicit place where they can answer, or maybe it's like a natural question from something that we've been talking about or answers that they give. I have several of them just Google it and see if we can kind of arrive at the answer to something. So if, for example, they say, hey, that's kind of weird. They have, like markings on it. Why did they do that? And then we can, look on the internet and see if there's any information about why they may have inscribed this. Some people may also say, oh, okay, well, it's the temple of this, and let's see what this is. Ningirsu. Okay, it's the city god of Girsu. So when we get to that, we could basically maybe say that, okay, well, they like to inscribe things or dedicate things on actual temples. Or maybe they could even just say, hey, I know because that this is a foundation nail for the temple of Ningirsu, we know that they had temples to their gods. So there are a lot of different interpretations that they could get from this. And we could kind of explore a lot of different directions. So one of the reasons why I like to have these types of exploratory lessons is because they're so open-ended that we're able to pretty much flow naturally from what they're interested in and kind of get into something that they're going to be a little bit more invested in, rather than just me, constantly flipping slides saying, okay, this is this, this is this, this is this, and then here's all this information. This allows them to kind of use their own interpretive skills, and we can go in whatever direction feels most natural. So really, really basic open-ended questions like this, it might sound, kind of low level at first, but I think it really allows us to go deeper into a subject, I think. So let me delete these, and that way it makes room here. Okay. What's next? I've already done that, didn't I? Ooh, this could be an interesting one. Okay, it says used to get beneath the foam of beer and straight to the good stuff. Okay, this could actually be a really, really good one because it tells us several different things. So let's start an open-ended question here. And how would they describe? I'm just gonna I'm gonna skip the straight to the good stuff part. The foam of beer. Period. What can this artifact about life in Mesopotamia? Okay, so it's a little bit more specific about life in Mesopotamia. And I imagine several people are probably going to pick up on the whole, okay, get beneath the foam of the beer stuff. And, 14-year-olds, they're going to say, oh, man, that's cool, that's funny. But at the same time, beer and alcohol was a pretty decent part of life in some of these early civilizations. Like they came up with early forms of fermentation. So one of the oldest surviving drinking straws, we could maybe link it to like technology, and how the fact that they use straws today to maybe not to get like beneath the foam of stuff, but at least to bridge the gap between the top of the liquid and the top of the cup. That technology has been around for a long time. Okay. Seated female. Okay, it's another seated female. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder how big this is. I wonder if it's like actually a chair that someone else can sit on, or if it's like this big. Lap for days. Oh man. Okay. This one's actually kind of cool. Okay, 5,500-year-old. So I would have to change that a little bit. Come back to that. Put that in the maybe pile. Actually, you know what? No. Okay, because if this one also has lapis lazuli in it, and we already have some stuff on jewelry back then. So let's do both of these. Okay. It's an interesting one. See if someone has a more specific date. Fish with a cat head. Mesopotamia. No. Okay, it's fine. I'll just estimate. So what, like 3,500 BC-ish? Okay, what? Okay, there's not a whole lot of information on it, looks like. Oh, okay, here. The art of the first cities identifies this pendant as a lion-headed eagle dating from, yeah, about, okay, we can do that. So let's do this. It's a little bit more specific. Originally part of Treasure of Ur, found in Mary. However, some scholars have argued that the pendant actually represents a Sumerian bat. Huh. I could maybe see that. Okay. Lion-headed eagle. Oh, okay, yeah. There was, here. All of these over here. Pretty decent images. Okay, same thing. Yeah. Oh, UNESCO. Okay, that could actually be pretty good to get some. Okay, lion-headed eagle. Let's change this description here. Fish with cat head. Lion-headed eagle. Gold and lapis. Is lapis lazuli 2 words? Yeah. Or lapis for short. Okay. Okay, lion-headed figurine was discovered in 1965. It is considered one of the most important finds of the city of Ur's treasure. One of the most important finds, wow. It was discovered hidden in a pottery jar located in one of the columned rooms of the royal palace of King Zimri Lim in Mari, the founder of Mari and the initiator of the first dynasty. Mari is an ancient city located northeast Syria on the Euphrates River. The treasure was a gift from the king of Ur, located in the lower Euphrates region, to the king of Mari on the middle Euphrates. Such gifts of treasures indicates the high status and dignity of the kingdom of Mari vis-a-vis the other city-states of the region. Mari dates back to the 3rd millennium BC when it was the capital of the middle Euphrates. This statuette is made from lapis lazuli and gold. It features a mythological creature with the face of a lion, wings of a bird, and tail of a fish. The lapis lazuli body is ornamented with diagonally striated lines and a pair of gently arching vertical lines indicating the wings and the body respectively. The head and the tail are executed with sheets of gold fixed above a core of tar. This mythological creature is named Anzu. He is analogous to the god Ningirso. Oh, hey, wasn't that one that we looked up? Like Ningirsu? Or I wonder if that's the same one. Okay. From Sumerian mythology, because it's an O and then a U in the other one. Interesting. From Sumerian mythology and is the sacred deity in southern Mesopotamia. This statuette is carefully and symmetrically pierced, twice at the bottom of the shoulders of the creature and once at the tail, indicating that he is originally meant to be sewn into a fabric as a jewel to be fixed on the chest of the wearer above the breastbone. This description here, I think, is going to be far more useful. So let's... I'm just going to put, what can this artifact tell us? And we'll read this all together. It's not too lengthy, but I think it gives some context as to like what exactly this is. So it would give us some more information. Okay. No, here I was wanting to skip that one. Okay. Next, we can do this one, and this will be a little bit more basic. Okay, so we have the necklace, and how would we describe this necklace? 3rd millennium BC. So we could just say, because we would already go over centuries, let's not overcomplicate it for them. Wait, you know what? 3rd millennium, would that be 2000? No, 4000? No, hang on. 2000, right? Hang on. Brain fart. Yeah, okay, yeah, 2000. Okay. Ish. So let's say hey, what are you doing? I'm being silly. Okay, beaded pectoral. What? Beaded pectoral. If that's like a certain type of... Oh, going... Duh. Okay. Beaded jewelry that goes over, you know, pectoral muscles, I guess. Huh. I have never heard it referred to like that. What can this tell us about Mesopotamia? One thing I wish this would allow me to do is post several different artifacts, each with their own description. And maybe I would have to make like a slide on it and do a screenshot of the slide or save the slide as an image. And then that way they could look at several different things and just come up with like a list of things that they could do. Because it might take a while to answer all these questions. This is going to be one of our first lessons this year. So I think maybe I would just be able to kind of see how it works out and see if they're able to keep up with all these different questions. Maybe they are, but also maybe some of them might drop off after a while. So over time, kind of seeing how everything works out, maybe I would try to come up with a way to like combine some of these things. Okay, so far, let me do this over here because that's jewelry. That's jewelry. This, I guess, could go here. Oh, I would need to do this here too. I'm trying to organize things in terms of themes, at least kind of. Okay. This one. Do that there. Okay. Probably reorganize this a little bit later, but it's okay. All right. So what are some other cool ones? Babylonian map of the world. Really? Babylonian map of the world. See if we can find more information about this. Babylonian clay tablet written in Akkadian containing a labeled depiction of the known world with a short and partially lost description dated to roughly the 6th century BC. The map is centered on the Euphrates flowing from the north top to the south bottom. The city of Babylon is shown on the Euphrates in the northern half of the map. The mouth of the Euphrates is labeled swamp and outflow. Susa, the capital of Elam, is shown to the south. Urartu to the northeast, and Haban, the capital of the Kassites, is shown incorrectly to the northwest. So I guess they got something wrong. Mesopotamia is shown by a circular bitter river or ocean and 8 regions depicted as triangular sections as shown as lying beyond the ocean. It has been suggested that the depiction of these regions as triangles might indicate that they were imagined as mountains. Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, so I wonder if, so that's that. And I wonder if there's just like additional inscribed information on it to, as maybe like a map key or something. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right. So what I'm going to do with this one is have slides where I can kind of show a few different depictions of this. Yeah. Hey. What are you doing? And then we can go into like asking interpretive questions. The Babylonian map of the world. I guess I don't need quotation marks. Okay, Babylonian map of the world. Should I? Trying to think. Should I have like a description? Yeah. Well, let's see how it looks. Okay, let me reset it up. And then I'm just going to take this. Hey. And I'm going to put it here. Oh, that is way too much. Okay. Take out some of the fluff information. Containing partial loss description. Let's see. Okay. Okay, you know what? We're just going to paraphrase because that's a lot to try to shave down. So, depiction of the known world on a clay tablet. Locations such as cities and rivers are marked and labeled on this early version of a map. So now let's get the date. 6th century, so 500-ish BC. Okay, I think that's good enough. So if we do that, now I have this. It's going to be it's a good question I could ask. Can the Babylonian map of the world tell us about what humans knew about their surroundings? Okay. And some answers might be a little more simple here, and they would probably just say something like they knew how to draw out the surrounding geography, or they knew that there were other cities in the area, or they knew like the spatial relations between the rivers and the mountains and the different cities. So ideally it would just kind of allow them to get this idea that they had a way of comprehending at least the immediate world around them. Ideally. Okay, so that's from Egypt. And it looks like they have other ones in Mesopotamia, but I would need to find one. Ooh, this is a cool one, actually. Stone weight. All right. A mino was a unit of measurement. Did they mention that? Okay. Huh. Let's see if I can find any other information on this. So stone weight, 5 minos. Well, just anywhere else. Okay, well, cool. Not a whole lot of information. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to find a whole lot of stuff about it in general, but that should be okay. I think it's still a good one to go over, especially because it, I mean, yeah, it's like an early form of cuneiform on it. So when was this? Okay, 2030 BC. All right. Oh, no, it didn't save right. Oh, yeah, it did. Okay. What can this stone weight tell us about just tell us. And they would probably say something like, it can tell us that they had a concept of weight, or like an approximation of how much certain things are supposed to weigh, or maybe a way of like dividing out different weights. Like instead of just saying that, okay, this object is heavy, they actually had a unit of being able to measure how heavy something is. So actually, here, I'll do 2 questions. What is a mina? 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 So that would pretty much just, yeah, because this part right here is going to kind of lead them into this second part. All right. Ooh, this could be really interesting. Okay, you know what? I kind of like this one. And I'm going to do something different here. I'm going to do the collaborate board and the image. Okay. Image is going to be this. What words, what pops into your mind when you see these, this picture? And I can just have extra information here. Okay. Okay. So it'll just vary things up a little bit. And I can put it right after the other jewelry ones. Actually, you know what? I can put it before. No, I'll do it after, because then we'll have already talked about lapis lazuli. Try to have things organized in at least like a, in a way that makes sense. No, it's too late. Ooh, here we go. This is going to be a good one. Okay, so I can put, let me put these two, no, these ones somewhere else. Okay, now once we have the ruler and then the Sumerian king list and then Sumerian king list, then we can really get into cuneiform and some writing and record keeping. So let's see. Okay, let's see what this guy had to say. Okay, so it's the same picture. Actually, no, that's a really good quality picture. Okay, so I'm going to use this one. And do open-ended question again. But I'm going to try to put a lot of contextual information here, because otherwise they wouldn't really know what's going on. Okay. This is a... Okay, so this description here, I think, is enough for them to get some basic information. Let me put down the date, 15th BCE, 15th what? Okay, 15th century, so like 1400 BCE. Okay, what can this artifact tell us about and we'll leave it like that. So it gives them the background behind it, including like what it was written to record, that legal case. And hopefully they would be able to pick out some information like, let me go back to this. Like, oh, they had courts in Mesopotamia. And that would be something that either I could just tell them outright or they could interpret on their own. they could, let's see, talk about land ownership, that people owned land in Mesopotamia. Like you as an individual were able to own a plot of land. And that might seem like it makes sense already, like it's kind of intuitive to us. But for these early civilizations, you kind of have to start from the ground up. Like we can't assume anything about early people and early civilizations. So it kind of helps us to be able to build up from a base knowledge of practically nothing. And then we can use these artifacts to say, well, now I know more, now I know more, now I know more, now I know that this is true, or now I know that this is probably the case. And it just kind of helps us flesh out who these early civilizations are. No. Okay, now we're starting to kind of get down into some other things that I might want to skip. Okay, we always have to talk about Hammurabi's code, or the Code of Hammurabi. So this is a good way to maybe do like an early introduction to it. And it's really hard to zoom in, so I'm probably going to have to do another slide on that. Let's see if there's a... Because we always go over not just like what it is and the writing on it and the depiction at the top, but we also go over like some of the concepts present in it. Most notably, the standards call for us going over the concept of an eye for an eye, or retaliatory judgment. And also how retaliatory doesn't mean like if you're the one who a crime is committed against, then you get to do the same thing back to the other person. It's more like the government retaliates on your behalf against the offender. So like the government's going to be the one to get that retribution. What was that called? It was Lex Talionis, I think. Yeah, it basically means law of retaliation. Yeah, here you go. So, wow. The Code of Hammurabi basically is one of these super early versions of this, where it's not just supposed to be a just punishment against a criminal, like that's definitely part of it, but it's also supposed to be just on behalf of the person that the crime was committed against. So yeah, we're going to talk about that when we actually get to like the lesson part of this. So let's see. Okay, how am I going to describe? There's so much to talk about with Hammurabi's code. You can just do like code. Codes in human history, made by king in Mesopotamia. Then we could slap a date on it. I know that's like way over basic, but I don't want to get into like the super nitty gritty of these topics while we're just doing like artifact interpretation. So let's do this. What can this artifact about? Hey, yeah. Okay. Oh. Yeah. Let me... I think one thing I can add to this. Written in cuneiform. And maybe somebody will pick up on the word cuneiform and be like, hey, what's that? And hopefully we will have already talked about it by this point, but we'll see. Okay, let's see if there's anything else that we can get to, like... This was a good one. I remember reading something about this, like in the epilogue. There's something like if you deface these laws, or if you deface the... How do you... Is it stele? Stele? Like,
stele.
Stele. Okay, cool. If you deface the stele, then you, I guess, are going to have like... what does it say? Where is it? May the future defacer conclude every day, month, and year of his reign with groaning and mourning. Yeah, that's kind of a lot. So, let's see if... maybe I'll come back to that. See what other artifacts we can get here. Oh, this could be pre-cuneiform. No, we're not going to go over that. Even though I think, like, especially in an upper level class, it would be really good to go over the different types of writing systems present in Mesopotamia. For this class, this is a World History 1 class, we have to go over so many other different writing systems that it's really easy for them to get confused, especially if we overwhelm them with, you know, more and more and more, and like how things evolve outside of what we talk about. So like we talk about the Phoenician alphabet, we talk a little bit about the Greek alphabet, we talk a little bit about the Latin alphabet. And with those three especially, we can trace the evolution of the alphabet as it goes through time and goes through different civilizations. We even talk about the Cyrillic alphabet that is used in a lot of Russian and Slavic countries. So, or Russia and other like Eastern European countries. So, we do go over the exercise of how language evolves over time, and especially how written language evolves over time. But for this kind of stuff, I don't really know if that would be super worth it. Because like we have cuneiform, we have Sanskrit with India, we have hieroglyphics with Egypt, and sometimes Hebrew for like the early Hebrews. We have Arabic. And then, you know, some of those more like traditionally considered Western alphabets, like the Greek and Latin alphabet, and then the Cyrillic alphabet. And then we also look at Chinese and Japanese characters. So I don't really think this would be super worth it, going over like a pre-cuneiform writing. Oh, this would actually be really cool. So this would enable us to segue into the wheel, like an early technology, the wheel, and they would be able to get this from this depiction of whatever that is on a cart that has wheels around it. So they could say, oh, well, you know, they had a concept of what wheels were. They had that technology. Okay. What? Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a collaborate board for this one. Change it up a little bit, because it's going to be a super, super basic answer. What? Ugh. How would I pare this down? Okay, how about Mesopotamian? There we go. Okay. Easy enough. Now, let's see if I can look up Mesopotamian wheel. Oh, okay. That's this website does a lot. What? Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Can I not save that image? It's frustrating. Okay. Looking for pictures. Okay. Here we go. Actually, you know what? Let's try the new slide. See if I can like organize things a little bit better here. Layout. No. No, that's not going to be good. At least not for what I want right now. Can I add an image? No, I can't add an image to. You know what? Let's do this one. What piece of technology is this? Or does this look like? Face, wheel. Axe. Let me do like a tricky one. Shield. Shield. Icon. See what they say. Get them to warm up a little bit. And then I can have a slide on it because, I mean, it's not something they really need to answer again. So let's see if there are any other pictures I can do here. So early. Mesopotamian wheel. But like, is it explicitly saying that all of these came from Mesopotamia? I don't know. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, that would probably be a really good one to put. That one would be good too. Okay. Let me do this one. Picture quality is going to be terrible, but I feel like they can handle it. It's from Mesopotamia. I wonder more about this one, like what these things are. I didn't see any information about that. So let's see. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, I can just put that. All right. Okay, what's next? Ooh, mathematical cuneiform tablet. Okay, this one can actually be good too. So it gives us this idea that not only did they use cuneiform to record written records, but also now they're doing math. Hey, how you doing? Okay, so how am I going to put this here? Plimpton 322. What is that? Babylonian clay tablet. Notable as containing an example of Babylonian mathematics. It has number 322 in the G.A. Plimpton collection at Columbia University. So I guess the 322 part is just like categorization of it, or like an archive number, maybe? Anyway, so it looks like the number 322 doesn't have to do with actual subject matter of the tablet. This tablet, believed to have been written around 1800 BC, has a table of 4 columns and 15 rows in the cuneiform script of the period. This table lists 2 of the 3 numbers in what are now called Pythagorean triples. So a, b, and c, satisfying a squared plus b squared equals c squared. From a modern perspective, a method for constructing such triples is a significant early achievement known long before the Greek and Indian mathematicians discovered solutions to this problem. At the same time, one should recall the tablet's author was a scribe rather than a professional mathematician. It has been suggested that one of his goals may have been to produce examples for school problems. So I guess if it's like a table of mathematics, just like how kids today in like elementary school learn their addition table or subtraction or multiplication table, something like that. Looks like this may have kind of served the same purpose with Pythagorean triples. That's kind of interesting. So content, too much math for me. Way too much math for me. Are there errors? 6 errors. Uh-oh. That is very cool. Okay. I'm just going to, let's see if I can find a better picture of this. Might not be able to. These aren't phenomenal. But also that, it's okay. So how am I going to describe this? Yeah, that's simple enough. Okay. This famous mathematical cuneiform tablet from ancient Mesopotamia. Okay. What can this artifact about? So students would probably say something like, this artifact will tell us that they had a concept of how math works. We can hopefully build up from that. They had a concept of recording numbers. So that's something else. I don't really want to get into the whole like Pythagorean triples. That's a little much. And we talk a little bit about the Pythagorean theorem later on in the year, but not even that much in depth. So yeah, hopefully they're just able to glean some information like this culture was capable of doing mathematics and even, recording it. That would probably be a pretty good takeaway. Oh, is that it? That might be it. Yeah, I think that's all they have here. Okay, so that's all from Mesopotamia. Let's see if they have something for Sumer. Actually, you know what? Before we get... Royal Game of Ur. Okay, before I move on to the next thing, definitely want to include this. This is pretty cool. Okay, how do they describe it? Royal Game of Ur, ancient board game from 2500 BCE. Reconstruction of gameplay compares closest to modern games to that of Trouble. Oh, huh. That's kind of cool. All right. So what can this artifact? And I'm going to try to as often as I can, especially when I'm doing stuff that they can read in Mesopotamia. Because one thing that, as much as I try to explain it, there's always a handful of people who have trouble have trouble understanding that like Sumer is part of Mesopotamia and like the southeastern part. And they usually think that like Sumer is just this mysterious place that also exists separate from Mesopotamia, and then they don't realize that like if something's true to Sumer, it's true to, or at least mostly true to at least part of Mesopotamia. So I kind of have to clarify on that more often than I would have thought. Okay, and interpretations of this, like they would probably talk about how this can tell us that not only did they have a concept of games and competition, but they also had the ability for people to, like kill downtime. Like they had a concept of maybe leisure or something that they could enjoy. And maybe we could like relate it to board games today, video games, something like that. It's things that people do for fun. What's that? That's kind of cool. Oh, votive sculptures. Okay. Amazing band. Let's see. Oh, wow, that is a lot of writing on a tablet. Oh, wow. It's a record of temple workers, Sumer, 2094 to 2047 BC. This one, the largest clay tablets to survive from the Neo-Sumerian period. The 24 columns of writing on the back and front records the names of nearly 20,000 temple workers from the Umma area. I think that's worth putting in here. So like, if I did, I guess I would need to. Okay, from the Umma era. What can this artifact tell us about Mesopotamia? And they might pick out stuff like they had temples, religious temples, or people were recruited to work on those temples. Maybe that there were a lot of workers because there were 20,000 temple workers. Maybe they found value in recording information about the workers that they had. It's not like, you just pick out people to work, but you had kind of a method of keeping records for that because that might come in handy later on. So that could probably, this one artifact could probably tell us a lot of information here. Let's see if I can find cuneiform. And I'll move this one around back to where we talked about cuneiform. Okay. This could be a good one. Yes. Okay. The 3,400-year-old Hurrian hymn, number 6, discovered in the ancient city of Ugarit, is the oldest surviving near-complete notated music in the world. Carved on a clay tablet in cuneiform script, it is dedicated to Nikal, the goddess of orchards, now housed at the National Museum of Damascus. Definitely including this one here. Yeah, I like how it's like a measurement down there, so you can at least have like a comparable idea of how big it was as an artifact. Okay, so that'll be near the cuneiform stuff too. Let me, yeah, and just do that. What can this artifact tell us about Mesopotamia? So this one right here is going to build on our knowledge of them writing things with cuneiform, them keeping records and stuff with cuneiform, them having things that they want to write down. It's also going to build up the idea that something that we had explored before this, that they had some type of religion, like they have a concept of worship or concept of there being some deities maybe. But here, this kind of builds on that because it's a hymn. So we can talk about what a hymn is. Actually, you know what? Let's do that. What is a hymn? And then what can this artifact tell us about Mesopotamia? Because if I do this question first and they identify like what a hymn is, it's like some, I don't think it has to be a song, but it's like some sort of verbal, or maybe I guess written, but yeah, usually like said or spoken or sang celebration of a deity or something that they're trying to like elevate. Because I know there's this, what is it called? It's the Hymn of the Nile, I think. And, like the Egyptians, I don't think really considered the Nile a god, but they would still make a hymn to it in like celebration or honor of the role that the Nile has played in Egyptian life. And that's something that we explore later on when we get to Egypt. So you call the goddess of orchards. Okay. And I'll put that with the cuneiform as well. Here we go. We do talk about the Epic of Gilgamesh a little bit later on. I don't want to oversaturate them with too much cuneiform. Illustrated math problem. It's the length of a circular city wall after enlargement. That's no cuneiform tablet in Old Babylonian. It's a space station. So wait a minute. An illustrated math problem. So I guess this is the city wall earlier, and then that's the city wall after being enlarged. Oh, this could actually be really good because everyone hates math problems. Okay, not everybody. Some people really like math. I hate math problems. And I think even people who like math generally are not the biggest fan of like word problems. So it just kind of shows that, hey, those things have been around for a very long time. And we can include that after the other math one. So what is this? Cuneiform tablet in Old Babylonian. I'll say cuneiform. Just because when we're talking about writing systems, simplifying it for them is probably more useful in cuneiform. Oh, no. Cuneiform tablet in Old Babylon. Okay, so it already says cuneiform. I'm just going to leave it that way then. What does this remind you of? What can this tell us about? Okay, what does this remind you of? I'm hopefully they're gonna call out previous math classes and like how the entire math practice structure works. Where is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, after Plimpton. So I guess I hadn't moved that when I needed to. Okay. Oh, here's another good one. Okay, so more cuneiform, but Sennacherib's Annals, one of the earliest cuneiform artifacts ever discovered. They are notable for describing Sennacherib's siege of Jerusalem during the reign of King Hezekiah, an event that is well recorded in the Bible. So this can actually tell us a lot. I think that's going to be something really good to include here. So it's going to even further build on cuneiform. And over here, like in our things that demonstrate writing systems, cuneiform specifically, because this is Mesopotamia. Okay, so image. Boom. What does this artifact tell us? Okay, so different interpretations that they might be able to come away with. One, using cuneiform to record historical information, because up until this point we had talked about like recording lists of kings, or recording records of workers, or recording a hymn to a goddess, or recording mathematics or mathematical problems. But this one is even recording laws. This one is the first one that tells us about recording historical events. And they might even say, oh, wait, hang on. Like some people may have a Christian background and may remember this event from reading about King Hezekiah and like reading about Sennacherib. So what is likely is that at least a small handful of students will probably say that this artifact can tell us that different civilizations, like the Hebrews and people in Mesopotamia, have the same events. Well, I mean, they're obviously the same events are going to happen to them if their two cultures are clashing in warfare, but that they have maybe different ways of recording the same event, like two cultures will. So a lot of different takeaways with that one. I think that one could be really useful to this kind of lesson. Okay, I think if I can find it, it might be here. I remember there's one that's like a Yelp review almost. Here, oh, okay. It's not exactly a Yelp. Well, another one is, but I remember this one. This one might be a good one to include. A Syrian cuneiform tablet documenting a lawsuit between two merchants accusing each other of stealing. Yeah, so around like 1900 BC, there is a legal record of, more issues. And actually, you know what? I don't know if we need to include that, because there's another one. Where is it? Yeah, here's another legal case. We probably don't have to include that then. It would be good, but I don't want to overwhelm them with too many things. There's a lot that we can include here, like a whole lot of different topics. I'm looking for one. Okay, land transfer, butcher's bill, oldest complaint letter. I think this is it. Wait, what? Is that really it? Let me go to the museum link. That's probably better. Okay, I'm going to keep this one. Download.png. Cool, thanks. All right. The reason I was looking for one like this is because it just kind of gets into I guess maybe like some of the personal aspects of who these people may have been, or like at least the idea that some people in Mesopotamia could have the tendency to be, I guess, what colloquially we would call a Karen today, like just complaining about everything and like leaving a really bad review. I think this is a pretty good example of that. Let me go back here to the actual information about. So first, the world's oldest complaint letter. Yeah. And then I want to actually put the translation. Okay, and I'll read this out loud. Yikes, that's a lot. Tell Ian Nasir, Nani sends the following message. When you came, you said to me as follows, I will give Gimil Sin, when he comes, fine quality copper ingots. You then left, but you did not do what you promised me. You put ingots which were not good before my messenger, Sitsan, and said, if you want to take them, take them. If you do not want to take them, go away. What do you take me for, that you treat somebody like me with such contempt? I have sent as a messengers gentlemen like ourselves to collect the bag with my money, deposited with you, but you have treated me with contempt by sending them back to me empty-handed several times, and that through enemy territory. Is there anyone among the merchants who trade with Telman who has treated me this way? You alone treat my messenger with contempt. On account of that, one trifling mina of silver, which I owe you, you feel free to speak in such a way, while I have given to the palace on your behalf 1,080 pounds of copper, and Umi Abum has likewise given 1,080 pounds of copper, apart from what we both had written on a sealed tablet to keep in the temple of Samas. How have you treated me for that copper? You have withheld my money bag from me in enemy territory. It is now up to you to restore my money to me in full. Take cognizance that from now on I will not accept here any copper from you that is not of fine quality. I shall from now on select and take the ingots individually in my own yard, and I shall exercise against you my right of rejection, because you have treated me with contempt. This is great. He is... Oh no! Too many characters. How do I fix that? Because I would need to like pare it down by half. I need to figure out a way to do this. Okay. Let's see. I wonder... I'll have to figure that out at some other point. Maybe I can just do like... half of it? And then... I mean, it's just showing that he's, kind of angry. What can this artifact tell us? Okay, so I think this can tell us that they had copper, that they used copper as maybe some sort of trade good, that there were people who traded in copper, and also the quality of copper was important. So there's a lot that students could take away from this one, even if it doesn't include the entire text. So I'm going to go ... Okay. I wonder if there's anything else that I want to pick out here. Okay, so let me go to this one. So map poor Mesopotamia. So this kind of I don't know exactly like all of the qualifications that not qualifications, all of the the ways that these maps are produced. I think some of them are user created, and some of them are maybe just like found in other places on the internet. But there are a lot of really good maps on this subreddit over here. One of the ones that I know that I want to put is, where is it? This one right here. I don't know if this was created by this guy right here, but expansion of farming in Western Eurasia. This is really good for this topic. Because when we talk about Mesopotamia and Egypt and India and China, we classify them as early river valley civilizations. So this map right here shows us an estimated expansion of farming in Western Eurasia, where you're taking the Middle East and you're taking Europe, and you're basically giving kind of like a date of estimated farming, like when farming would have probably started. So it looks like, for example, over here, like 9,600 BC, and then over here, 8,500 BC. And as time goes, the numbers can decrease because it's moving forward in time. But you can also see the expansion of farming as a technique and as a technology. And it is taking time to get to all of these different locations. So pretty much started over here in the Fertile Crescent. That doesn't mean that literally nobody in the rest of the world farmed before this, but I believe the interpretation of this map is that it's an estimation based on archaeological evidence of when just in this location over here farming would have started. So, and I know there are different finds about like settled communities and stuff that are still unearthed like today, that kind of lead us to alter our understanding of like what the earliest settled communities were and like what the earliest examples of agriculture were. But this, I think this is just kind of like a handy overall guide just for this area, like the Middle East and Europe. So I'm going to save this, and we're going to talk about it. And for this one, so expansion of farming and agriculture in Europe, in the Middle East and Europe. So dates are BC. What does this map tell us? Actually, you know what? Let me do a series of leading questions. So, what color shows the earliest examples of farming? And they're probably going to say like red or dark red. Let's see. What color? No. What happens? No. Why are there different colors on this map? And they're probably going to say something like, well, there are different colors because farming and agriculture starts in different time periods and different locations, and maybe like it spreads over time. How can we tell that farming and agriculture spreads out over time? That the to farm and have, I'm just going to say ability to farm, in which direction is overall in this map tell us? Okay, so hopefully those are some good questions. I'm going to put it before the irrigation artifacts. I think it's right. Yeah, right here. Because it kind of is a good segue between like, okay, well, farming as a technique spreads to different areas. And oh, well, if we look at this map, if we look at this map, the Fertile Crescent is kind of where farming starts in this part of the world. And then we go straight into the picture of the people who had unearthed like these drainage channels and irrigation stuff. So I think that would be really helpful. All right. Mesopotamia. Let's see if there are any other good maps here that we could use. So I really like maps like these, but not for teaching. The reason I like them personally is because I think they are very well done, they're well thought out, but I don't like them so much for teaching because they don't provide a really easy to understand view of these locations. Like they don't, I don't think they give an image that students can really easily interpret. So like, for example, this one. This one's a lot easier. Not much easier, but it's easier. Let's see. Let's see if they have one for Fertile Crescent. Not the same one. Yeah, it's the same one. Ooh, that's interesting. It's not exactly just a map. It's more like an infographic. I think that would probably be too much for them to look at all at once. Like that would be really cool in a book. Let's see if I can find a good Fertile Crescent map. I wish on NEARPOD there was a way to like combine 2 images and then have questions about it, or maybe like 4 images and have questions about it. That would be ideal, because what I could do then is use the map that we just looked at, the expansion of farming over time, and we could compare it to a map of the Fertile Crescent. And then they could kind of see, oh, well, maybe it's called the Fertile Crescent because that's, you know, the pretty much like the earliest area of farming in that region. Fertile Crescent. You get a good map just for like a basic question. Not good quality. It's not very large, but I would also like it to be green. I guess that's okay. Oh, wait. What? Can I do image? Sometimes it's really weird. I don't know how to get around that. Oh well, okay. Keep looking. No. I like ones that are green a lot better. Just because I think it helps with visualization. All right, fine. We're going to go with this one. It's not amazing. Let's see. Small. But I also want one that says Fertile Crescent on it. But one that, you know, also shows like some of the surrounding area would be really helpful. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, so I'm going to ask the question, why do you think this, or the green part on this map, is called the Fertile Crescent? Let me look back at that map. Okay, so it actually has the two rivers here and, you know, even the Nile over there. All right. I think that's going to be good enough. So can I put it up here? Yeah, right there. All right. Now, I guess I can't do like a combined question, so I'm just going to have to do slide. Okay. What color is the Fertile Crescent on the map on the left? What color is the Fertile Crescent? What was a better way to word that? Color. The map on the left colors the Fertile Crescent in which color? Actually, you know what? No. Just, let's do open-ended. Okay. Where is the Fertile Crescent? No, okay. I have a better one. Not a slide. Okay. So there's another cool tool here called Draw It. I hate how it always does that. Okay, so I have a reference image, which is going to be this. But then my background image, the one that they're actually going to draw on, is going to be here. So the prompt is going to be trace the Fertile Crescent on the map below using the reference map. Not a question. So ideally they would be able to pick out, okay, well, like this is a crescent shape. There are these different landforms that hopefully you can recognize down here. And then they'll be like, oh, wait a minute. The red is the Fertile Crescent. Huh, okay. And then they'll trace across the red. Ideally, that's the goal. Hopefully that's what ends up happening. Okay, so it's kind of like they're building off of that knowledge here. Okay. So I'm going to have a question that I want them to answer collaboratively. What are, going back to the cuneiform thing, some things that Mesopotamians used cuneiform for? Okay. What are some things that Mesopotamians use cuneiform for? And this will be right at the end of all of those different cuneiform tablets. So like this one right here, the Sumerian king list, listing out chronology of royalty. This one, the legal case, writing out, information about the law. This one, math. That one, math. That one, Hammurabi's code would be just, chronicling like an actual legal code that exists and what the laws are. This one, Sennacherib's annals, chronicling a historical event. This one, record of temple workers, keeping a record of who works. And then this one, the Hurrian hymn, it would be able to, it would allow them to like write down hymns or praises of something. Here, I didn't move this one back. And then this one, the complaint letter. So I'm looking for them to have a lot of different responses to this collaborate board question. So they're able to kind of give me like all these different fields that required writing and record keeping from the Mesopotamians. At the end of this, okay, because I think I can kind of wind this lesson down. Oh man, 25 megabytes. I think most of the megabytes come from like the actual slides, so I'm gonna have to think about a way to maybe bump that down a little bit. Because there's a limited total space that I have on this website. Okay, let's see. How can I conclude this? So, found interesting artifacts. We did that. I feel like we've done a decent job of making an exploratory lesson. Like, we're going to go over it together, and I'm going to tell them all the important things that they need to know, things that they should keep in mind, like as we get into the SOL test, things that they would need for the upcoming quiz, all that stuff. This whole NEARPOD, and I don't know exactly how long that this would take. We'll have to gauge that. But this whole NEARPOD, the only purpose is for them to see what they can interpret based on what they're given. So it's kind of just an exercise in critical thinking, like making sure that they can draw connections between what they see and maybe what they can analyze or what they can suggest about this. So I want, collaborate board, write 5 separate stickies about each about something you learned. 5 separate stickies, each about something you learned. So I'm not sure exactly like how detailed they're going to get with this. I know the collaborate board doesn't give you a whole lot of room to write, but if they're going for 5 separate things, then hopefully that gives them enough room. Okay. And we can just go over everything at the very end, like what their reflections are. And as other people are writing in Collaborate, they can kind of add to that and see if they can expand on what their fellow classmates are saying. So let's see. We didn't really do the rivers, but we kind of looked at the geographic location, at least in terms of the Fertile Crescent. Farming equipment. Let's see. We didn't really talk about equipment. Let's see if there's can we do a plow? Let me just add that. Mesopotamian. We did the wheel. Okay, Mesopotamian plow. Is there like a picture of an actual artifact? Okay, mass-produced pottery, writing, hydraulic engineering. That's funny. Chariot. Ooh, that could be good. Here we go. All right. imitation of a Sumerian plow. I wonder if there are any like actual plows that we could take a look at. I guess that's what I'm looking for. So there are drawings of them and like diagrams of them. Yeah, and imagine that there's not a whole lot that we could really get. Okay. So let's take this one. Oh, my page. I need to stop doing that. No. Oh. How do I set it up so I can like actually save the image? Okay, I'm just gonna have to. Wait a minute. Will it do it from here? Okay, yeah, that's weird. I don't know why I wouldn't otherwise. Okay. So I'll have to label that it's an imitation recreation. Yeah. Of a plow used in Mesopotamia. What can this tool tell us? And maybe I can do that like right after the agriculture part or the Fertile Crescent part. So where would that be? Where are the maps? Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that would be good. Okay, so farming equipment, plow, wheel, agricultural success, soil irrigation. I don't really know if we can do that much on these. Architecture. We looked at the foundation nail a little bit. Is there? Hang on, let me see if we can find a good Mesopotamian ziggurat. See if there are any good ones still standing. I don't know if there are. There might be. Maybe just the ruins of them. Okay, let's see what's on here. Okay. All right. No, I think it might be too involved because when we talk about ziggurats, I want to like actually talk about ziggurats. So maybe that's just not for this exploratory part. We did cuneiform, a lot of it. Written law, a little bit of it. Hereditary rule, we mainly just like touched up on that there were kings. We didn't really get into slavery. Polytheistic religion, definitely. Let me see if we can have Mesopotamian gods. Yes, here we go. See if there's a picture of like multiple. One picture. Maybe just this one. Okay. So how do they describe it here? Okay. I'm just gonna add Mesopotamian deities. What can this artifact tell us about? And ideally, the answer would be that they had more than one god. And we'll talk about like what polytheism is. And we'll get to all that stuff later on. Is there a good location for me to put this? Maybe this one. Okay. And then warfare. We didn't really get to warfare. So there were some things that we aren't really able to demonstrate as much. But not all of these things are super, super important for us to get into just in the exploratory thing. I think we have a pretty decent surrounding foundation here that we can build off of to, make the rest of the lessons. So, or at least the rest of the, lessons on Mesopotamia and like all of the different things that are going to be important here. So that is pretty much everything that I think I'm going to include on this one. And yeah, that's where we're going to leave it off. So if you're still watching, hope you had fun. And I'm going to end it now.